All right, my friends, hello and welcome in. This is we're almost done with this. We'll call it a month because that's what it's called. It feels like a year in some ways. It's been a very expansive, really intricate month. And this particular class, the Foundations of Anusara Yoga, has loosely followed a roadmap around transition. By the time we started this practice about a month ago, the weather was much different than it is today here in Park City, Utah. We're having a beautiful, epic snowstorm. And at the beginning of the month, I knew we were going to transition into and have radical change in just Mother Nature experiencing and expressing herself. And so wherever you are, I'd like you to just drop in and kind of take yourself back a few weeks and let yourself dive into where you started this journey about 3 weeks ago. And just what you've been through. I think it's like if we were to ask ourselves, can you recall last April? You'd be like, whoa, no. So let yourself just take a little meander backwards. Call yourself from here to a few weeks back and see if you can even just remember the weather, the temperature, some of the things that you were aware of, that you were transitioning through. Some of you did cleanses, some of you had workshops of other sorts, some of you traveled. Where did you go? Who'd you see? And then bring yourself more current. So bring yourself back from as far as you were able to let your mind wander, and just collect all the pieces and then start to bring yourself into right here, right now. And we went on a journey, as we do very typically in this Foundations of Anusara class. We went through open to grace, muscular energy, and then we started using certain patterns. X marks the spot in our feet for inner spiral and outer spiral. And as we going to bring it all together today, we'll build the last principle of alignment called active organic extension or organic energy. And that's how we pull everything in, and then we have something to expand out. And so draw your hands to your heart and let yourself integrate. And you'll find that the breath is here. It was with you several weeks ago. It's been with you every day, your whole life. Approximately 26,000 breaths per day. And just let yourself transition from the mind wander into present time. And feel your seat and your pelvis. And let yourself get more anchored and rooted. And as that most weight-bearing part of you, your hips, your legs settle, allow your breath to expand and lift through your upper body. And as you keep the upper body bright and light, gently press your palms together so that you can feel your shoulder blades draw towards your back body. And then see if you can allow a broadening, an expansion of the collarbones, sort of like a smile. And that might shine out even through your elbows, going a little wider. That's the organic energy. It comes from the core of who you are and expands down, up, and out. And we'll build one really grounded, super important Om because it's the only one we get for this practice. And let it be the sound of all things coming together. And that's very important as we take transition. Let it all come together. Deep breath in and big breath out. Deep breath in. Om. All right, I'm gonna invite you to come onto your belly. It's a very unusual way to start a practice, but that's where we're going. Onto your belly. And then on your belly, you'll take spider arms. So you're on fingertips with elbows lifted. Bow the head into the heart so that you're not lifting your head from your neck, but your heart is holding your head. And then lengthen and lift one leg at a time. And keep doing that with your inhales and your exhales. And then rather than focusing on the leg that you're lifting, shift the mindset so that you really feel the leg that stays on the floor, your fingertips that stay on the floor. So we're going to just drop in and get grounded. And as you feel the foot that's on the floor, press down through those toenails and the shoelace side of that foot as you lift the inside seam of the lifted leg. And then set both feet down equally. Hug the midline with your inner ankles, your inner thighs, and allow the outer hips to spiral forward towards the sticky mat. Lengthen your tailbone. Now we'll notice that the most weight-bearing part of your body is going to be your pelvis because it's way easier to move now like a snake, the upper body side to side. And so focal point becomes an important topic when we deal with organic energy. So where do we pull muscular energy into? Periphery, fingertips, toe tips, up through the core lines of energy into a certain place that's most weight bearing. So here it's your pelvis. And then from the pelvis, you'll let the energy first shine out through your toes. So that's why we started with the leg lift. So push down through the toes, from your hips to your toes, and then hold that attention as you let the upper body move. And now we'll lift the heart up like a cobra and down. Press through the toes, from the hips to the toes as you rise up through the heart and lower. And we might get distracted here and think that it's your arms that are doing the work, but let your legs and your pelvic floor actually do the work. Now place your hands where you would for chaturanga. Pushing down through your hands, pull the belly out of the strength of the legs. Pull the belly forward and then lift a little bit. And lower down. Now think of your pelvis as the most weight bearing. So from your hip to your knees, push down into the floor. Keep pushing from hips to knees and then through hands to come up to all fours. So it has to transfer to the knees more than the hands. Please step your right foot forward and climb yourself up into a lunge. Pick up the heel of your front foot. That will pull muscular energy up through the leg. And then keep pulling the leg muscle up even as you set that heel down. So muscle squeeze to bone, and now bone extends to earth, and that's organic energy. Push down through the bottom of your back foot and really reach the bones through both feet, from your hips to your feet, as you lift your back leg up. Pressing down through the feet, then we can rise the organic energy up through the heart. And hands to the earth. You're going to use blocks. I suggest you grab them and put them under your hands. And I want you to pull both feet towards the midline between them. And then bend your back knee as you straighten your front leg. From your pelvis, push down through the ball of the back foot and the whole foot on the front. Now from your pelvis, push through the leg bones and switch the bend. Bend the front knee and stretch out the back leg. Now we'll call it all in from foot to hip. Pull the front leg to straight. Pull up the legs into the hip. And now from the hip, push through the back leg as you rebend the front knee. And one more time. Pull in. Even the hands are pulling up through the arms, into the shoulder, and powerfully down through the hips. Push from hip to foot. And like you've got 10-pound weights in each hand, slowly pull that energy up through the arm line, but use your legs. Root it down and stand up tall. Now send it down through the legs and then lift the arms. Deep breath in. And the exhale to downward dog. Inhale forward to plank. Press from hips to heels. And from hands pushing down, keep the heels pulling back and let the heart move more forward. So we expand from the hips to the feet, down through the hands, and then out through the crown. Lower down to the belly. Take spider arms. Lengthen and lift one leg at a time and really focus on the foot that stays on the floor. Anchor both feet, all 10 toes, hug the inner thighs and ankles to the midline, and we'll take that snaky side to side. And let the energy move from the hip instead of the heart. So let the tail wag the dog. There you go. Now place your hands, pulling the hands down, anchor through the toes. From your hips to your toes, reach and then rise up. Lowering down, tuck the toes. From the hips to the knees, push down. And from the hip to the hand, push down. Downward dog. Inhale to your knees. And we'll step left foot forward. Lift the front heel. Push down through the bottom of that foot. Keep the muscular energy pulling up through both legs. So collect it into the hips and then send the energy from the bone of the pelvis to the foot. Now stretch up high. Anchoring through the legs. Push through your legs more and then liberate and lift up another inch or two out of the belly. Hands to front thigh, tucking back toes. Allow the back leg to hover the knee a little bit. Now really push from hip to feet through both legs as you extend. And we use inner spiral. The first X marks the spot on the ball mount of the back big toe. Anchor down, rise up. And on the exhale, hands to the earth. If you're using blocks, take a hold pull the feet to midline and really push through the feet as you straighten both front leg and bend back leg. And now powerfully from your pelvis, push through both feet as you extend back leg and rebend the front knee. And we'll pull in, breath in, and shine out, breath out. And one more round, pull in, pull everything up from the periphery, the toes, the fingers, the legs, the arms into the hips. From the hips, send it down to the earth. Grab those imaginary 10-pound weights. And as you push through the legs, pull the energy up into the arms, send it back through the legs, and then rise up. This time we'll turn the back heel into a warrior two. Deep breath in. Pull the front leg just straight from your feet, pull up into the hips. Now we'll pivot, X marks the spot, more on that left toe to take all 10 toes, long edge of the mat. Pivot, X marks the spot, more on that right baby toe to inner heel as you turn and make warrior two with right leg, front leg. Pull from foot to hip. X marks the spot, right big toe to outer ankle, turn the toes in. Left foot, baby toe, inner ankle. Turn the front leg out. And we'll do that again, straighten, and then pivot and pivot. Now pull in again from foot to hip. Let that radiate like a star. Hold your light and bend the front knee. Inhale, forearm to thigh. Pull from foot to hip. And as you extend the arm over your ear, push down from hip to feet. And stretch that left arm straight up. Reach the right hand to your ankle. And now squeeze the feet to the midline between them as you straighten your front right leg. Triangle. Root down, big organic energy from your pelvis. Push through your left foot more as you lift up through the left arm. And that'll lift you up out of the pose. Pivot the feet. Settle in warrior two. Elbow to knee. Feel the legs pull up into your hips. And as you stretch that right arm along the ear, reach, push through the leg bones, long through the spine. Reaffirm the grounded energy of your back big toe. Stretch that left arm to the sky and reach right hand to the ankle. Pull the legs to straight. Trikonasana, triangle pose. All right. Inhale, lunge. Exhale, dog. Now we're focusing on the focal point of the pelvis in this practice. Right now, the most weight-bearing, closest to the earth part of your body that's holding you is your heart. And when we shift to plank, it becomes the hips. So from hip to heel push as you pull the heart out of the hips forward. Lower down to the belly. Spider arms. Lengthen and lift one leg at a time. Setting both shoelace side down, all 10 toenails. Strengthen the inner thighs. Lift the inner thighs away from the floor. Lengthen the tailbone. That's outer spiral. Now from the pelvis, stretch through your toenails. Make the legs longer and pull the heart out of that strength. Up, up, up. Hey, Rihanna. Hi. And lower down. Now we'll do no hands. Wrap your hands behind you, Shalabhasana. If your shoulders are tight, hold a strap. And if you're holding a strap, go palms down, elbows up. Now from your pelvis, stretch through your toenails, especially along the inside seam of your legs. As you lengthen the tailbone toward your toes, then you lift up through the heart. Top of the throat lifts. Keeping the heart lifted, set the hands where you would for chaturanga, and then continue to cobra. Push through your toes. There we go. Press to the knees to lift the body, and downward dog. Deep breath. Please inhale, left leg up and back. Shift your gaze forward. And think about what you learned about plank. So you're going to have to use your right leg a lot as you step left foot forward. There you go. Turn the back heel. X marks the spot. Big toe, outer ankle. Now on that front foot, baby toe, inner ankle. Fire it up. Left forearm to your thigh. Right hand to your hip. All right, so we focused more on the pulsation of muscular energy in and organic energy out. And really, if you want to teach a back bend, we want to remember that the spirals of the legs and the arms really matter. So as you bow in, press the hips back and notice that moving the thighs back and wide literally move the heart forward. Or you can look at it the other way, but let the hips move back so the heart moves forward. Now pull the front buttocks down by pulling from baby toe to inner ankle and see if that outer spiral can open the heart, lean into your heart. And then see if you can let the legs move back and wide and let the upper body go for the ride. Back and wide, down and under. Yeah. There we go. Triangle pose. And same thing, the actions will be smaller though. So the back leg needs more back and wide, front leg needs more down and under. Then the heart can expand, but you push through the feet. Reach through right leg, push it down, reach up through right arm, lift it up. Come out of the pose. Pivot other side. Find your X marks the spot. Elbow to knee. And then play with the expansion and the contraction of the legs. And as the thighs move back, keep the left thigh moving back more so that that right buttocks can wrap and open the heart from the hip. And once you find a place where you feel like everything's in balance, we'll transition from the balanced action of this pose into a triangle pose. Stretch down and hold your ankle, pull from foot to hip. Maintain that power pulling into the hip, press the back thigh back, front buttocks under. Now from the legs, extend down and then out and up, Trikonasana. Press more firmly through that back foot, press from your hip to your foot. Reach up more lightly from your body through that left arm. And that anchoring down and lifting up is organic energy that lifts you out of the pose. Turn all 10 toes to the long edge of your mat. Bend your knees a little bit, push the hips way back, fingers to the floor. Skandasana, side to side. With the fingers fixed, you can really feel how it's the legs that are governing. Now lighten up the fingers and let them move like you were Jackson Pollock. And let the legs Build all the way up through the sway of the spine, the arms, the shoulders. So you're fluid like seaweed. And then transition to your left foot and downward dog. Inhaling, right leg up. Step through pigeon. Find your pigeon. Make it work for you. Pull in so much from your foot to your hip that your hands get light, or maybe they lift all together. Hips are pretty far off the floor. And only in Anusara Yoga have I ever seen this one, because most people are all about the depth of the pose. Let's find this one first. Hug in and get really strong. Keep lifting up. Now from your pelvis, reach through the back leg more and pull that front buttocks under, and that will deepen the pigeon. Instead of collapsing, we expand it. Back, forward, up. And downward dog. Sink into dog pose, let your heart hold you. Inhale, left leg high. Take your time, pigeon. Ooh. Okay, the back leg needs more of that inner spiral. So from big toe to outer heel, roll the hip, but try to keep the squeeze of the ankle to the midline. Hold that, now pull yourself from foot to leg to hip and lift yourself up high. If you need blocks under your hands, go for it. Collect your breath. There's a transition moment here where you've pulled everything in. You've remembered where you've been, everything you've learned, all the stuff that's happened. And then we get to go, what's next? I don't know. From there, shine it out through the back leg, wrap the front buttocks under, and then send it up through the heart. Find what feels good. And then we'll build on that. Take it with us to dog pose. Inhale to your knees. Take one block with you and come onto your back. Place the block between the upper inner thighs. And make sure your feet are outer hip width apart. Pull your shoulders up towards your ears and set them down. And as you push through your feet and the backs of your arms, your elbows, lift your head and set it back down. Take a nice deep breath. Three points that could be the focal point. It's either the base of the pelvis, the base of your heart, or that spot that's right behind your eyes and your upper palate. When all three of those places are in alignment, like this, the hip, the pelvis, focal point wins by default. It's still the most weight-bearing part of you. If you push down from your hip to your knee to your inner ankle, you'll feel your legs get stronger. Gently squeeze the block. Now gently press down through the elbow to the upper arm and then back through your head. Now soon, if you just lift the hips a tiny bit, the heart will then become the most weight-bearing part of you. So let that happen. Keep pressing down from hip to knee to inner ankle. Now push more through the back of your head where your eyes meet the back of your head, and see if you can lengthen from your mouth through the heart and lift the hips, outer hips a little faster, belly button a little higher. And maybe the back of the heart got light and you can feel the most weight-bearing part of you is in your head. And hips to the ground. Deep breath in, open the arms to cactus. Strengthen right where your belly meets your pelvis. Use an exhale, strengthen the lowest abdominals, and use that to pick up the feet. Spread your toes, flex your ankles, soften your breath. And now with exhale, knees to the right. And find a juicy breath into that left pectoralis and shoulder. Use the right leg, push it into the block, squeeze the midline. That's muscular energy. Come back to center. Now the left leg's going to carry you down to the left. Squeeze the block, left leg to the block. And right shoulder blade towards your spine. Big breath into your heart. Inhale back up. And place your feet. All right. Some of you are ready for a full wheel. Some of you are like, not in this lifetime, no way. But let's just have a little chat about full wheel and sort of the misnomer of it. The misnomer of full wheel is that your heart is the focal point. For most people, it's your hips. It remains your hips. And it has to do with being able to see how the hips remain the most weight bearing. If you're super open in your chest and your shoulders and your upper back, you'll still travel from the palate, because usually we get to full wheel through a variation of bridge where the head stays on the floor. We still travel from palate to hip on the way up to a full wheel. So we need to be willing to extend more from hip to foot before we try to push through the arms. Think about that. And then it might be the very last phase of a full wheel where you could really reach from the heart through the arm bone. But let's focus on hips to feet, okay? And the placement for your hands is pretty wide outside your ears. And even if you're not coming all the way up, find the hand placement. So you turn the palms down with the fingertips facing towards your hips. Claw at the floor with your finger pads and your toe pads. Squeeze your block. Deepen your breath. From your hips, push down from hip to knee to inner ankle. And from this dominant focal point of the pelvis, we'll go into the head. So in one fell swoop, we're going to lift up to the crown of your head. So inhale your way up. Set the head down. You can lift up high on the balls of your feet so the heels are lifted. Try to lower the hips. And now from the hip to the feet, press through the legs and then up through your arms. And let yourself down. And that first full wheel for me is usually like, oh my God, I actually even got somewhere close. I got in the neighborhood. Now take the block away. And don't pull your knees into your belly, but hold your knees and take the knees wide apart. So we're going to keep a little bit of that lumbar curve. Press your knees into your palms so that your feet move further away from your body. And that'll even put your lower back into a little bit of traction. Then you tone the tailbone muscle right on your tailbone. Deep breath into your heart. Transitions. Where are we now? What have we learned along the way? And how do we take that accumulation into a present moment to create what comes next? Draw into yourself, pull your knees to midline, place your block between your upper inner thighs. Set your feet outer hip width apart. Shrug your shoulders toward your ears, pick up your head, set it down. Give yourself a deep breath. You don't have to go to full wheel. You can stay in bridge, but let's try the hand placement of full wheel again. So you want to turn your palms down, fingers point towards your hips. And a lot of you need to take your hands wider. Now claw at the floor with your finger pads and see if you can draw energy from your elbows to your armpit. Press down through your feet and squeeze that block. If you're staying in a bridge pose variation, lift the hips a little bit and transition from hips to heart. And then as you expand and lengthen the thigh bones from the pelvis to the feet, you'll rest in the focal point of the palate. And then lower the hips a little bit, press through your finger pads, inhale to the top of your head. You can come to the balls of your feet, set your head down. And from your hips, lowering a little bit, then press from hips to feet, long through your spine, up through your arms, and all the way down. And number 2 wheel is usually like, oh, I found a little bit more of myself along the journey. Remove your block. Hold your knees wide and press your knees into your hands. All right. We're going to do our third one. It's not the phrase that my body would want to hear. Lucky me, I get to watch you. So place your block, place your hands. I'll teach to what I see now. Pause in your breath, open to grace. Place your hands, claw at the floor, active from inner thigh to the knee to the foot. From the finger pad to the elbow, pull into your shoulder. Lift the hips a little bit. And now we'll go one fell swoop to the top of the head. And lift up through your heels, keep your feet turned in, your toes, big toe, first X marks the spot. Good, now lower the hips a little bit, little tiny bit, lower the hips. From the hips, push through your feet, inner knee, inner ankle, and then through the spine, down through your arms. Deepen the breath. Way to go. And inhale, curl yourself down. My goodness, right? Take the block away, hold your knees nice and wide. Push the knees into your palms so your feet move away from your body. A little traction in your lower back here. Now rock yourself side to side. And 48 5-minute class is a short class to go all the way into a full wheel for a foundations style class, but we did it. And take the twists. So go back to, we'll keep the feet on the floor, the windshield wiper twist. And one knee at a time dips in while the other one moves the wide. And trust your variation of windshield wiper. Just go into your wisdom. And then stretch both legs out and down like you were heading towards Savasana, but we'll do our last pose called Supta Padangusthasana. So hold the back of your right leg and extend left leg down through the heel and right leg up through the heel to the sky. And you really want to focus, like we did in the beginning, the leg that's on the floor. Anchor it. And it's by learning to expand from the hip down into the earth. And guess what? Up through your spine. And then the last place we extend the energy is up through the lifted foot. And bend the lifted leg. Place that foot on the floor. Hold the hamstring of left leg. And now we'll go in order from hip to right foot. Push the right leg down. Anchor the right leg. Long through your spine to your crown. Maintain all that and then squeeze the outer left hip in towards the grounded leg as you stretch up. So we have to have a little outer spiral on that front leg, lifted leg. And a deep breath in. And a long breath out. And we'll bend the lifted leg. Bend both knees, place both feet on the floor, open the arms, shrug your shoulders toward your ears, pick up your head, set it down. Give yourself a moment. Let your back body soften and settle. And start to quiet the Ujjayi breath. Let it get a little quiet. It's still there. Just let it get quiet. And really soften into your exhales. Release into your back body. And if you have some discomfort in your lower back at all, you'll just knock the knees together and take the feet wider or support the back of your legs with a bolster. If your back feels clear, stretch out your legs in Savasana. And if you're dealing with a little bit of lower back discomfort, isolate where in your body and see if you can move the vertebrae where it is more centrally located in the epicenter of your body going, I need to find some ease. Isolate the vertebrae and see if you can lift that one vertebrae. There's one vertebrae that's pushing down towards the floor too fast. Go into your inner landscape and try to lift that one vertebrae that's pushing down too far to the mat. Lift it up. And then try to hold that part of your spine and then soften the muscles from outer body to inner body. And then hopefully that vertebrae is going to hold and your body should feel better and you can relax and maybe straighten your legs. Shavasana, the last pose that we take, is here to help you integrate the whole of your practice. In this particular case, it's here to help you integrate the whole of the last few weeks. So just drop in and let everything settle. The Ujjayi breath disappears. The mind will soften. Mm. And think of this as clearing the slate. And then you can start to reemerge. So there will be some aspects of you that you leave behind. And there'll be some aspects of you that you remembered through the practice. Let your breath guide you in either way. Exhales can release, inhales can revitalize. And I'll invite you to be very, very present for how your inner wisdom helps you transition from corpse pose to fetal pose. Pay attention, be curious. When you land in fetal pose, give yourself a few moments here and just soften yet again. Time to transition is so important. And here's another choice point, or an awareness point, or just a collect the present moment point. Anchor down through your body. Let the hips remain the heaviest, most weight-bearing place. Use your hands, look at the floor so that your pelvis is what's lifting you up, and then the strength of your arms. And when you take your final seat, give yourself another right here, right now moment to refine the seat. And get grounded in your body. From anchoring and centered, we can rise up, hands to heart. And to the outward eye, it looks like the same pose we started our practice with, but I bet you know the difference. And so the thing about transitions is we do come full circle, yet we have collected pieces of self and let parts of self go along the way. So how will who you are in this right now continue to unfold? We'll entrust that to your own. Deep breath in. Big breath out. Collect your vibratory power. Deep breath. Thanks for taking the journey. Namaste. All right. We have a Kula combo happening November 20th, 5 p.m. Mountain Time. It's based on a book called Sage Warrior. It's being hosted by Mary Krista Smith. We sent out our first piece of information about it in emails you get on Friday. So it came out last Friday. You don't have to read the book. There's a podcast link in that email. We'll continue sending out little pieces of information. If you have questions about the book or comments, there's also a link you can check in any of those emails that are either came out last Friday or still to come. where you can submit your questions to a Google form. That way Mary Crystal will receive your questions ahead of time. And any questions, let me know. Peace.